stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner. I'm stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner. What? I'm stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner.
Well, Sunday was meant for celebration, but instead it ended in an unimaginable heartbreak. A St. Louis family is now mourning the loss of a young mother taken by gun violence on a day already heavy with emotion for them. Fox 2's Taylor Harris joins us now live with more details. Taylor.
Yes, Mandy, it was a tragic Mother's Day here in St. Louis. A 24-year-old mother, Jordy Haley, was shot and killed in the Ville neighborhood Sunday evening. Her family says not only did she die on Mother's Day, but she died on the date marked for her late mother's birthday. Police say they responded to a shooting in the 4400 block of Moffett just after 7:30 p.m. Sunday night.
When officers arrived on scene, they found a female who had been shot multiple times inside of a car. Firefighters and paramedics responded. They did everything they could, but unfortunately, this woman lost her life last night.
Jory was a devoted mom to her 3-year-old son, Nasir. At the time of the shooting, Janiyah said that her little sister and nephew were inside the car with Jory. Her brother was right behind them in a separate car. He had been getting a tire fix nearby.
She wasn't even supposed to be in St. Louis. She was supposed to be in Texas, finished getting her degree for college. She was just a good person. She didn't deserve it.
As the oldest of 8 siblings, Jory had returned home to help raise her brothers and sisters. Their mother passed away from a heart attack in January 2021. Janiyah says they were planning a summer trip to Chicago for Jory's 25th birthday.
And then my little brother called me, and my little brother was screaming on the phone. And my little brother was like, she was dead. And then when I had pulled up, it was just a crime scene. My little brother and them was crying. My nephew and my sister was, they was in the back of the police car. They wouldn't let me see them. I ain't gonna lie, I passed out a couple times.
Janiyah was home cooking dinner, expecting Jory and her siblings to celebrate their mother's birthday. Instead, she was met with sirens, yellow tape, and heartbreak. Police says this marks the 42nd homicide in St. Louis this year, and at this time last year there were 64 homicides. They're urging anyone with information to call St. Louis police or leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers.
Meantime, we're now learning new details in a deadly downtown Melbourne shooting that took the life of 19-year-old Nathaniel Jennings, a collegiate football player from Palm Bay who was home for Mother's Day weekend.
The suspect in this case made his first appearance in a courtroom this afternoon, and his attorney is arguing that this was self-defense. West 2's Megan Moriarty is live outside of the jail in Sharps tonight with the latest on this investigation. Megan.
24-year-old Stephen Dijus is being held here at the Brevard County Jail on a $100,000 bond. He is charged with manslaughter in the death of 19-year-old Nathaniel Jennings. I spoke on the phone earlier today with Jennings' mother, who says that this was a otherwise verbal argument that went too far.
My son was murdered. Senseless act of violence. Someone took my baby.
Somber but emotional, Autumn Minnick spoke about her son Nathaniel Jennings' death. He was killed on Mother's Day after an argument outside a bar in downtown Melbourne.
And he made it to college, and he's made me very proud, Mom. He's overcome a lot of obstacles in his life, and I don't think anyone thought my son was going to make it, but he proved them all wrong.
Jennings had just transferred to West Liberty University to play football. Last semester, he was a defensive end for University of Northwestern St. Paul. His former head coach, Matt Moore, sent us a statement saying in part, Nate was a treasured member of our football team, being honored with all conference accolades following his first year of collegiate competition. For as talented as Nate was on the football field, he was an even better person off of it. According to an arrest affidavit, 24-year-old Stephen Dijus was in downtown Melbourne when he came into contact with Nathaniel Jennings a little before 2 a.m. Sunday. The two didn't know each other previously. Dijus told police that Jennings was immediately confrontational and threatened to give his people Dijus' location.
So the arrest affidavit indicates that Mr. Dijus actually tried to remove himself from everything.
At his first court appearance on Monday, his attorney says Dijous tried to walk away, but Jennings and another person kept walking towards him. Dijous told police that Jennings made quick body movements towards him, which he interpreted as Jennings trying to fight him. He removed the firearm he had in his pocket and pointed it at Jennings and immediately began to shoot.
I also read the information where you, Mr. Dijous, indicated that you didn't think that he even had a firearm. So now we're looking at somebody not touching you and walking away, and you have a firearm.
Dijous says he shot the first 2 bullets as Jennings was still facing him. The affidavit states Jennings began to turn away, and he fired a 3rd time and continued to shoot.
Now, originally, the judge did not want to grant a bond for Dijous. She actually said she was not going to. His attorney did cite the fact that he is charged with manslaughter, so he has a right to have bail, which is why she did grant that $100,000 bond. He has not posted it, so he is still being held here. His next court date is set for early June. Covering Brevard County, live in Cocoa, Megan Moriarty, West 2 News.
Another big story we're following tonight, the gun violence in Memphis unfortunately did not end this Mother's Day. 2 men are now in the hospital after 2 separate shootings, one of them in South Memphis. An hour later, a second person shot in Orange Mound. Here's WREG's Raven Copeland with what we know about these cases and the community's concerns over crime.
I want to enjoy my city, and I can't because I'm afraid.
Memphis police are working to piece together the latest act of gun violence in this city. A man was shot on Mother's Day in South Memphis. Investigators say the shooting unfolded Sunday afternoon in the 600 block of EEH Crump Boulevard. The victim was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, and a man was detained by Memphis police. An hour later, a man was shot just 10 minutes away in Orange Mound in the 1200 block of Ethel Street, an area that's had its share of gun violence over the past few weeks and months. The victim in this latest shooting has critical injuries. So far, there's no word from Memphis police about a suspect.
We're sick and tired, just like the community is, of crime in our community. And so it takes all of us to bring crime down.
For weeks now, law enforcement and federal officials have announced their plans to reduce Memphis crime. An increased police presence in high crime areas is just one of the ways they plan to achieve that goal. However, some community members say they'd like to see more action being taken.
I am 61 years old, and I have been in Memphis for 61 years. And I think, based on what I see, and I'm a news person, they don't have control over the city. It's totally out of control.
As law enforcement works to reduce crime, they're urging people in the community to choose a different path.
Find another way to make a living, because you're not going to last in Shelby County. We are not going to quit. We run 7 days a week, 24/7, and we're not going to stop. We wish you would stop.
Reporting for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
For some reason, this weekend, when we honor mothers, this country saw a spike in gun violence. In fact, that's where we're going to start with some breaking news out of California for you. At least 1 person is dead and multiple others injured after a shooting in Hollywood. The Los Angeles Fire Department says that the victims were all adults, and those injured have been transported to area hospitals. 3 are in critical condition. A motive for the shooting is unclear, at least at this moment. And this comes after a deadly Mother's Day weekend. At least 10 mass shootings happened across the country. That is according to the Gun Violence Archive. In Colorado, authorities are investigating another mass shooting less than 7 weeks after a gunman killed 10 people at a supermarket in that state. Laura Podesta is with us now from New York City. Laura, there was another incident that happened there this weekend as well in New York.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Yes, in Times Square, police say 2 to 4 men got into a fight. One of them opened fire, shooting 3 innocent bystanders. Now that shooter is still on the run this morning. The NYPD says they do know who he is, that he has gotten in trouble for illegal vending in the Times Square area before.
A manhunt is underway in New York after a shooting in Times Square.
All 3 are innocent bystanders.
All are expected to survive, including a 4-year-old girl, seen here being rushed to an ambulance by Officer Alyssa Vogel.
We have a male party down on the ground.
In Massachusetts, a man is dead after driving an SUV through the doors of the Leicester police station.
The man exited the vehicle and immediately shouldered what appeared to be a rifle and aimed it at the police officers. The police officers then fired and shot the man.
Police in Colorado Springs are searching for a motive after a gunman killed 6 adults at a birthday party before killing himself.
This is terrible for a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Just outside of Baltimore, cops say a 56-year-old man shot his neighbors and set fire to his own townhouse. Witnesses say it was possibly to lure people outside.
There are 3 fatal victims.
Police shot and killed the man when they arrived on scene. And in Phoenix, a shooting at a hotel left 1 dead and 7 injured.
A group of people that were attending a function inside the hotel had some sort of altercation prior to the shooting.
The rash of shootings may reignite the gun debate in Washington, which quieted down after a string of deadly shootings more than a month ago.
This has to end. It's a national embarrassment.
According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been at least 24 shootings this month where 4 or more people were shot.
President Biden is expected to meet with congressional leaders on Wednesday. It's unclear if gun control will be on the agenda, but as we know, Anne Marie, President Biden has been very outspoken about ending what he calls the epidemic of gun violence in America.
He certainly has been. You gave us a whole list of shootings that have happened across the country. Do we know the motive or motives behind any of these shootings?
Well, in the Colorado Springs shooting, Anne Marie, we know that this was a targeted and an isolated attack. Police say that the gunman shot and killed his girlfriend as well as 5 others at the birthday party before turning the gun on himself. In Phoenix, it also appears to be an isolated incident. There were several people between the ages of 18 and 22 attending a party or a function at the Phoenix hotel. That fight that was started at that function escalated to the point where there was the shooting. Anne Marie.
For killing a 23-year-old mother on the morning of Mother's Day.
And WJZ live at Southwest Baltimore at 5:30 tonight. Stefan Dingle joining us now with what we're learning about yet another tragic shooting. Stefan.
Hey there, Rick. Good evening to you. Nikki, good evening to you as well. That 23-year-old identified as Tanaya Gray. And not only was she a mother, she was celebrating her 23rd birthday yesterday, leaving her family in pain and her neighbors confused about this shooting that disrupted their otherwise quiet community.
It's unnormal for things like this to happen so close to where I live at, so.
All is calm on Monday along Mountwood Road in southwest Baltimore, where more than 24 hours prior, gunfire disrupted the otherwise quiet neighborhood.
A young lady got shot at. Male in a dark SUV, possibly gray, took off towards Mountwood and Wildwood Parkway. About 3 or 4 shots 5 minutes ago. Female caller.
23-year-old Tanaya Gray was celebrating her birthday and Mother's Day the morning she was killed.
A woman I spoke to who lives in these apartments here says she heard the shots ring out, and when she looked out of her window, she noticed a car had crashed into the bumper of her parked car with the victim still inside.
Police haven't given many details on what led up to the shooting that happened around the corner from where Tanaya Gray was found alone in the backseat of the white Acura.
We have a number 1 female victim. She's not responsive right now. As far as the victim's in, white Acura TLX.
I have nephews and nieces that play outside willingly after school, so it's like, okay, now do I keep my babies in the house? Do I sit outside with them? Do I move? Should I have cameras? Because it's unlikely for this to happen. This is a friendly neighborhood.
On Monday, detectives canvassed the scene and interviewed potential witnesses to piece together a motive as to why this young mother was shot and killed on her birthday.
Now, I did speak with several people in the neighborhood who did not want to talk to me on camera, and they do tell me that Tanaya Gray was the mother of a young daughter. If you know anything about what happened on Sunday morning, you're asked to call police or Metro Crime Stoppers. We're live on your corner tonight in Southwest Baltimore. I'm Stefan Dingle for WJZ.
Of a Philadelphia rapper, LGP Qua, was shot in Juniata Park yesterday afternoon. The gunman on the loose. Action News reporter Walter Perez live for us where that shooting happened. Walter, you talk with a local host who recently interviewed that rapper.
That's right, John. And as you mentioned, this is where the whole thing unfolded yesterday afternoon, a shooting that took the life of a young man known as LGP Qua. And as of this afternoon, the motive remains unclear and no arrests have been made. His name was Kadir Johnson, but to his fans, he was LGP Qua, an up-and-coming rapper out of Philadelphia. But those ambitions came to a violent conclusion yesterday afternoon when investigators say LGP Qua was shot in the chest on East Luzerne Street near the M Street intersection. Johnson was taken to Temple Hospital, where he died a short time later. Popular multimedia host Mina Sewat Yona says she interviewed the 30-year-old rapper several times over the years and is stunned by the news of what happened.
We don't even have any words anymore. You know, this is not the first young artist that we've lost recently from Philly. It's becoming just a story that no one wants to hear, but that everyone's used to hearing.
And Mina says the most heartbreaking part is that Qua was actively trying to alter the image of hip-hop, moving it into a more positive light. After spending some time in prison, Qua started rapping about setting an example and becoming a contributor to society, a stark contrast to the negative messaging from so many other hip-hop artists.
A young guy not saying those things, being positive, you know, giving people inspiration, and even he is susceptible to some of the things that our youth is dealing with right now, and it's just sad.
Well, a $20,000 reward is in place for information leading to an arrest and conviction in this case. If you know anything that can help solve this case, please contact Philadelphia Police.
The search is on to find the suspect in a Mother's Day shooting in Coldwater, Mississippi. Police and area law enforcement are looking for Brian Polk, who is considered armed and dangerous. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Alex Coleman.
And I'm April Thompson. And right now, 2 suspects are already in custody after 2 adults and a juvenile were shot. WRAG's Mike Suriani is following up on the story and has details.
We're not revealing the identity of this 15-year-old female on crutches Monday after being shot in her left leg. This teen, as well as 2 adult females, were wounded Sunday outside this home on Parkway Street in Coldwater, Mississippi, during a gathering of several adults and juveniles. The mother of the 15-year-old tells me the juvenile's been playing here, right across the street from the house, something they usually do every Sunday. It just happens this tragedy occurred on Mother's Day. Police haven't released a motive for the shootings, but there is an active search in progress for Brian Polk, a suspect considered armed and dangerous.
We do have a couple suspects detained at this time, and right now we are looking for Brian Polk. He is out of Panola County, Mississippi. We do have neighboring agencies that are assisting us in this matter.
Numerous shots were reportedly fired during the incident. One smashed through this front porch window, shattered this living room mirror, and was found buried in this kitchen cabinet. I'm told one of the adult victims is still hospitalized. The other is at home recovering. Police are determined to find Brian Polk.
Safety is our number one goal. The safety of the entire town. We're a small town. We're a family-oriented town where people know each other. So definitely I do know, and I believe that someone will come forward with information to assist us in the apprehension of Brian Polk.
Gunfire in Hollywood left 1 man dead and several others hurt.
Now police are looking for 2 suspects who may be involved. It happened near Gower Street and Afton Place just after 10 o'clock. CBS 2's Cara Finstrom is live with a look at the investigation. Cara, good morning.
Good morning, Suzanne. Investigators say, sadly, this does look like it was a large Mother's Day celebration taking place just behind us here in this sealed-off street, and it turned deadly. You can see there are a lot of evidence markers there in the street. Some officers, they are looking for additional evidence, security camera video, witnesses that can lead them to the suspects. Take a look. Officers in the area on a different call last night say they heard gunshots right around 10. They responded. They found one person, a 29-year-old man who had been shot and killed. 3 others were wounded, and one of them is still in the hospital in critical condition. Police say at least some of the victims may be related. The oldest is 50. They're now looking for 2 male suspects who they think were not part of the party, walked in, fired shots, and left. They think one of the victims may have fired back. Lieutenant John Radke says with a large crowd out celebrating, more bystanders could have been hurt.
It's the most egregious thing that you could do. I mean, it's, you know, indiscriminate fire into any kind of party. You know, we're very fortunate in many of these incidents that we don't have little kids or babies being killed inside of residence. So, so as bad as this is, unfortunately, it could be worse.
And there were grieving family members out here. The lieutenant says part of the crowd also became unruly when officers arrived as they were trying to secure the area, and a fifth person suffered some minor injuries. Just really a sad situation out here overnight. DeMarco, Suzanne, again, investigators still behind us trying to gather information and to track down 2 suspects.
After her son was murdered. She says there are too many questions about what happened and not enough answers.
Fox 32's Tia Ewing has this story. Tia?
Well, what I can tell you right now, this story is made even more tragic when you think about this. Witnesses that were there when this killing happened, they are not cooperating with the Chicago Police Department. And so far, this has been a violent Mother's Day weekend with 18 people shot and 4 killed.
Baby was just 22 years old, and he was murdered, and it's really hard, and I just need justice.
It's no way for any mother to remember Mother's Day. Krista Lawston's oldest son, Jamarian Lawston, was killed earlier this week.
And I would like justice for my grandson.
The 22-year-old was gunned down here in this alley in the back of the Yards neighborhood Wednesday evening. Lawston was found in a car with multiple gunshot wounds to his body. He later died, and CPD says witnesses on scene are not cooperating with their investigation.
The city of Chicago, we got to do something. We have to do something. This got to stop. I was born and raised here. Moved to Georgia to get that phone call.
Jamarian graduated from Morgan Park High School in 2018, attended Iowa State University, and wanted to become a pro baseball player. His high school coach is devastated by his loss.
This young man was a hell of a ball player. That's why I coach so hard to try to save all our young men.
The staff at the University of Chicago Medical Center says they see Chicago's violence firsthand and are calling on city and state leaders to do something about it.
We feel helpless. We feel like, nobody else is standing up other than the families.
The family of Jamarian Lawston are now left with a lot of questions as they try to figure out who killed him and why.
I just can't believe this happened to him. Like, he not no violent person at all. He don't involve himself in that type of life.
And one thing is for sure, somebody out there knows something. If you do, you can submit an anonymous tip by going to cpdtip.com. Live in downtown tonight, Tia Ewing, Fox 32, Chicago.